America is now in a state of war, not just with Russia, after Biden authorized NATO to start using US-made heavy missiles to start bombing Russia next week. No, they just tried to kill Trump again. They had their cover story that it was gang crossfire, but Trump wasn't killed. But the media all put it out the second the news broke, even though the Secret Service and others were saying, no, the guy was shooting at Trump. They had to tackle him and return fire, and thank God he didn't kill him. That's twice this has happened. God's hand is on President Trump. Top Democrats have said they're not going to accept a Trump win. They're going to have civil war conditions. We're at war with the deep state. They're at war with us. They've dissolved our borders. They're destroying our dollar. We're under globalist attack. They're allied with the communist Chinese and others. And Trump has to take this very seriously. I told him they'll try to kill him on his golf course or blow up his plane. Trump has to address America and has to understand that if he doesn't come out and point out the deep states behind this, clearly in Butler and now, it's overwhelmingly clear, just from the media having their pre-scripted information both times in Pennsylvania and now in Florida, that's the tell right there. They're going to keep trying over and over again until they succeed.
Hey, Kharisma here. Well, welcome back to Kharisma Daily. Yesterday, as you heard and well aware, I'm entire world is aware now, there was a second assassination attempt on former President Trump. He is safe and he was not hurt. Now, the Secret Service foiled what the FBI called an apparent assassination attempt while he was golfing on his course in West Palm Beach, Florida. Secret Service agents spotted and fired on a gunman in bushes near the property line of the golf course, a few hundred yards from where Trump was playing. Law enforcement said the suspect left an AK-47 style assault rifle and other items at the scene and fled in a vehicle, but was later arrested. The apparent attempt on Trump's life comes just 2 months after he was shot at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, sustaining a minor injury to his right ear. Both incidents highlight the challenges of keeping presidential candidates safe in a hotly contested and polarized campaign with just over 7 weeks to go before the November 5th election. Now let's take a look at the update of what's happening with this second assassination attempt and the suspect that was taken into custody.
All right, 1:30 this afternoon, call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps 1 hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida.
So, a few things about what you just heard, and about the update when they first came out and provided an update on what's going on. A couple of things I noticed. The FBI, and I believe I don't remember what his position was, they always downplayed the incident when we know it was clearly an assassination attempt on former President Trump's life again. Moving on, next thing is that this individual, I mean, Trump is playing golf at his private golf course. How did this person know that he was going to be golfing on his golf course at the time he was going to be golfing? Very, very strange to me. He must have had insider information. But will we ever know that? I don't know. I doubt it very much. We're still waiting to hear all the details from the first assassination attempt by the FBI. And we still don't know, who hired this kid. None of that we don't know. And it's 2 months after the fact. And now we have another assassination attempt. Very, very interesting. Moving on, the suspect's name is Ryan Ruth, and he was arrested as indicated in this video. And I'm going to show you a video of him being arrested.
Keep walking! Keep that long.
Okay, so what do we know about Ryan Ruth? Now I'm going to Ian Carroll. He does a fantastic job really getting into the weeds of these type of situations and events. And he's going to share with us so far what he has found out. And a lot of the information has already been scrubbed from the internet. I mean, as soon as it happens, the FBI starts scrubbing any details about the individual. But Ryan Ruth had a presence online on Facebook and so on, and he was quite connected. But let's listen to what Ian Carroll has to say.
The new Trump assassin just dropped, and there's some spicy details already. Ryan Routh, very strange guy who's lived a very strange life. And this time, the internet was wise and archived all of his socials as much as possible before the FBI took it all down. So here's some basics on what we know about him, and one really interesting rabbit hole about who he might be. Right off the bat though, it's super early. This is all speculative. Take your time, pump the brakes. We're just digging through dirty laundry. We don't know what sticks yet. But this guy is a private American citizen who traveled to Ukraine on his own dime, to help recruit civilian soldiers to fight for Ukraine and Afghan special forces. He was recruiting on his Facebook page. Here's an archive of all of his tweets that look pretty damn automated to me. They pretty much all look like this. In a past life in Hawaii, he apparently ran this company that made a single tiny home and a single Facebook page and never did anything else with it. Super weird. But I grabbed everyone that he followed on Twitter before they deleted it. He only followed 60. And right down at the bottom of that list, which I think indicates his first follow, is this girl named Sue Kim, who is ex-CIA, along with some other very interesting things. Now, again, reminder, this is just speculation, digging through Twitter dirt. Maybe this chick is just a wonderful, patriotic person that's helping America. Who knows? But her account is private, meaning why does he follow her? I've been digging around, and one of my followers said that they found her in the people that follow him back. I have not been able to confirm that for myself because they took the account down. If you've got a video of the 1.2 thousand followers that followed him, that would be great to know. He says that she was at the bottom of his followed list, meaning that she followed him right when he made the account. That would make sense, seeing as she's at the bottom of his following list of who he follows too. I mean, every asset needs a handler. And when you go through some of these other affiliations here, you get what is essentially the CIA training grounds at Johns Hopkins University. It explores the relationship between politics and the many kinds of military power, from the use of terror by small non-state groups to the threatened use of nuclear weapons. Its director is John McLaughlin, who is literally an ex-acting director of the CIA and ex-deputy director of the CIA, 3-decade career at the CIA. David is third on the list of people at the top of this institution at the university. 30-year career in Army Special Forces, various special operations, invading various countries, as well as Operation Enduring Freedom. You get the idea. Anyways, Rand Corporation. That's a military industrial complex think tank, kind of like the Atlantic Council. And LMI org. Yeah, that's like a military industrial complex education and training program as well. Preliminary findings on the internet when you search our homeboy, the shooter, show his arrest record, including in 2002, possession of weapons of mass destruction, Class F felony, along with 3 other blocks of things like possession of handguns or concealed weapons and driver's license stuff. And yeah, that sounds like some operative shit to me. But again, we don't know any of this yet. We're just digging through dirty laundry on the internet. It's hard to tell what's real. But this is a photo of the weapon he used and the setup he had. People are speculating it looks an awful lot like, you know, Russian-Ukrainian class of rifle. He's doing these weird recruitment ops in Ukraine for civilians. Well, he's like posting on his Facebook all the time to like no followers about how he's recruiting hundreds of civilians to fight for Ukraine. Like posting for like Afghan special forces to contact him so they can come fight in Ukraine. But he's like just a random citizen from Hawaii. And one of the 60 people he follows is this CIA gal that allegedly follows him back. That looks an awful lot like a handler or a contact. His account looks an awful lot like a bot or an MK Ultra or a Pato. Who knows what the hell this is? His criminal record looks an awful lot like what you might expect a kind of guy in this kind of line of work to leave behind. And then there's the weird video evidence getting turned up.
Officials in Kiev simply aren't interested in recruiting them.
Ukraine is reluctant to be cooperative.
That's Ryan Ruth, a U.S. citizen who set up the International Volunteer Center in Ukraine to help connect foreigners to Ukrainian military units.
Now I'm talking to over 100 soldiers every day, and pretty much everybody, all of my contacts in Ukraine, they were adamant, pretty much yelled at me every time that I suggested that we bring in Afghans.
The Ukrainian government didn't respond to our request for comment, but a source close to the officials in Kiev told Semaphore that their top concern is the question of loyalty in the thick fog of war.
The biggest thing is spies. They're afraid that anybody and everybody is a Russian spy.
Shout out to some bitch I know on X, who currently has one of the best archives of all of his socials and accounts. There's a lot of other people doing good work right now. And again, I just want to clarify, I'm not trying to pretend like I've solved the case or like we know what's going on. We just have learned by now that the FBI is going to just cover everything up. And so it's up to us to try to dig everything out before they do. So that's what we're doing. And yes, it's ridiculous that that is even a set of sentences we have to say in America in 2024 when someone tries to kill the former and future president of the United States of America. And I mean, I can only imagine who might be backing up these operations to try to shoot him and who might be providing the intel and the access and the cover-ups, etc. So last thing I'll say, Ryan Routh, he's currently in custody. He was driving away in an SUV. They caught him. He's alive for now. And I just want to remind us all, Ryan Routh did not kill himself. If cameras malfunction outside of his cell, if he has a weird slipping accident, whatever happens, yeah, you know the story. 50 more days, my money's on at least one more attempt before we get there. So stay frosty.
There you have it. That's Ian Carroll, and he gets deep into the weeds of this sort of stuff. And what he's saying or implying, it seems that this guy could be a CIA asset. I mean, he is involved. He was interviewed by Newsweek of the work that he's doing in Ukraine, trying to recruit Afghanistan individuals to fight the war there. He was also featured in a BlackRock commercial, which is interesting because the other shooter in the first attempt, his name escapes me right now, he was also featured in a BlackRock commercial. But take a look at this one where Ryan Ruth is actually in.
The action is to appeal to world leaders, world organization.
Did you see him there? There he is. Yes, so he was featured in a BlackRock commercial. Now, BlackRock, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but they are an assets management firm, and they're quite powerful, well connected, and it's been rumored that they've been involved in some shady stuff. So that is a little bit of what we know so far. And Thomas Crooks, that's the name I was trying to remember. Thomas Crooks was the shooter who was the first attempt shot actually President Trump in the first assassination attempt. Now, moving on, we have
say that the Palm Beach Authority should not cede all power to the feds here. And
no way.
Can you please expound on that? Because I have a feeling that that's going to be a large takeaway line here.
And even the governor of Florida should exert co-equal control on this. This happened in Florida's territory. The state governor has a direct interest in making sure this doesn't happen again in his state. Clearly, the federal government is incapable of doing these investigations if they're too political or too fraught with bias. So again, let the state government flex up, back the local government and say, enough, we want co-equal information on everything here. And I would not even turn that guy over to the feds until he has been thoroughly investigated, interrogated by the state and local authorities.
We've covered this extensively and had on members of the task force to investigate the Butler shooting. And they've come on this program, sir, and raged that all of the evidence was scrubbed, that the body was cremated, and that effectively they've been handed an empty bag by the FBI.
Yep. And exactly. And there's nothing that says the state government has to turn over any of this stuff to the feds. They can take a copy of everything that's on his phone, the registration of the vehicle, whatever DNA is in that vehicle, whatever DNA they might find on the shooter's rifle, all those things, a fully co-equal, fully transparent investigation run by the state of Florida.
It's not happening. It's not happening. He's already been turned over to the FBI. It's not going to happen. The FBI comes in, takes over, cleans up, gets rid of stuff, and creates a narrative, and they tell us what they want us to believe. So that is a pie in the sky that will ever happen, that the FBI will not come in and take over. All right. So, but it's a great idea. So now we have a question that I am wondering, one of the major questions I'm wondering, how did this guy I mentioned at the beginning, how did he know about President Trump's schedule? How did he know he was going to be golfing today? Well, a lot of people are asking that same question. Take a listen.
Where is the suspect now? I know he's behind bars, but where? Well, what we did is we turned him over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. So I don't know where he is right now.
Okay. Did he say any? How did he know that Donald Trump was going to be playing golf? How did he have access to his schedule?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. You know, we are the border county to Palm Beach. You can't get out of their county without coming through ours. But we don't have the intel from the scene there. It's hard for me to imagine how he got within rifle range of President Trump.
Yeah.
$1 million question. How did he know Donald Trump's schedule? How did he know he was going to be golfing on Sunday, yesterday? How did he know? The schedule is quite protected. It's very protected. It's something that's held close to the individuals that surround him, and the Secret Service and all the individuals that need to know. They're the only ones that have his schedule. How did he know? If you can have any ideas about how would he know, let me know. I mean, I can only think of one answer, but maybe there's another answer that you may have. Let me know. Finally, in closing, Ryan Routh was arraigned this morning in the court, and he has been charged. Take a listen.
The man suspected in the apparent assassination attempt of Donald Trump is now charged with federal gun crimes. Ryan Routh appeared in federal court this morning. Agents took him into custody Sunday after being stopped on a Florida highway following the Secret Service seeing his gun right near where the former president was playing golf yesterday. According to public records, Routh is registered as an unaffiliated voter here in North Carolina. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is in Greensboro with what he has learned about Routh's time spent there. Sean?
Yeah, so far we know that Routh spent a majority of his life in North Carolina, including a lot of time here in Greensboro before he moved to Hawaii. We know this is the last house that he lived in before he moved to Hawaii a few years ago. Now, this is what we know about Ryan Routh. He had several run-ins with law enforcement while staying in Greensboro. He was convicted for a felony for possession of a weapon of mass destruction after a 3-hour armed standoff with police at his roofing business back in 2022. Routh had shown support for both political parties, posting he voted for former President Trump before, but also showing support for Democrats, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We're also learning he wrote a self-published book on the war in Ukraine, writing that Iran was, quote, free to assassinate Trump in that book. The sheriff's office, who made the arrest in Florida, just held a press conference moments ago and had this to say about the situation.
As a guy from not here and all the way to Trump International, realize that the president, former president of the United States, is golfing and is able to get a rifle in that vicinity. I think that's the question the FBI, the Secret Service are laser focused on today. Is this guy part of a conspiracy? Is he a lone gunman?
Routh is now facing 2 federal charges for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon and having a firearm without a serial number. Now, back out here live, Routh lived in this house until at least 2018 before he moved to Hawaii, where he was apparently building houses for the homeless with his son while he was out there. He's due back in court next Monday for a bond hearing. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News in Greensboro.
In a statement released by Vice President Kamala Harris, it reads in part, as we gather the facts, I will be clear. I condemn political violence. We all must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence. She also said she is thankful Trump is safe.
There you have it. Question is he a lone shooter or he was hired? He's working for someone else. Now, there's always the FBI always going to come out. The first narrative is always that he was a lone shooter. Really? I'll leave that question with you. Do you believe that Ryan Routh was a lone shooter? That is your question to ponder. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll keep you updated on this story as we gather more information. And sadly to say, I truly believe that there will be another assassination attempt on Donald Trump before the November 5th elections. I pray that I'm wrong.